vision. Thanks to influences, it's my ambition. Also envision my path, so I complete the mission. Yeah, I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best. I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best. I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best. I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, I'll say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best. Yes.
Welcome to The Last Sip. I am your host, Mac Mans, aka The Motivational Muscle. You know how I get down. I do not spill the tea. I keep a kettle that boils over, and I do take the last sip. Let's get an applause for the agua, y'all. Come on now. Let's get a cheer for the show get going. Now, you know I don't have a sponsor, but I like to give a shout out to start the show. Today's shout out is going to be simply to foster parents. I want to thank you guys for all y'all do. Love you guys for taking in children that need love and need help and need that parental assistance. For y'all here that actually care about these kids and actually really loving them and are actually doing things in the parents, you know, as parents would do in the foster system, I want to give you a salute and start the show off to say, I love you guys and applause to you. Well, y'all, today's show is very important and it is a touchy type of show. For some people, it might get kind of heartfelt. For others, it is what it is. The first search I have is destroying our future. And what I was going to do was I actually had two stories to bring to you, but I got entwined into one story so deep that I figured I'd just bring that one story to you. It was important that you heard this one story. Before I start, I would like to say that the stories I dig up and find, some of them might be in the archives and you might not have heard of them. But I always try to make sure I bring a story that has an impact. And so when I discuss destroying our future, what I'm talking about is the children. Like Whitney Houston said, I believe the children are our future. So when I say destroying our future, the story is about a young person whose future was destroyed. And we know for us to succeed into the next echelon or next part of history or next century, we have to have our youth become adults and become productive adults. Well, this story is going to jerk some tears. It's going to get you in your feelings, but I want you to hear it. Also, I want to send a shout out to everybody that's following me on YouTube at Motivational Muscle 74 and on Facebook at Ontario Hill Blue Checkmark Verified. So here we go. On the morning of August 22nd, 2020 in Houston, Texas, Sierra Irvin called to report that her 2-year-old daughter, Malia Bass, had been abducted from the playground, which is located at their apartment complex called Sunset Crossing. Now, earlier, Sierra had left Malia outside, saying that she was going to go into the house to make breakfast, and she'd be back out. Now, at the time, Sierra's boyfriend, Trayon, I think his name is Thompson, he was in the house sleeping. Well, after breakfast had been cooked, Sierra went back outside to find Malia, but Malia was nowhere to be located. So during that situation, with her not being located, they decided to search. It was Malia, it was Trayon. They even found some local search agencies and they looked for this child for the longest. Now, the thing that kind of got me on this was the fact that they left Malia outside. And leaving her outside while you cook breakfast. Now, Malia was 2 years old. Hey, how you doing, Corey? Much love to you. Malia was sitting outside while her mother went in and cooked breakfast. Now, the fact you left a 2-year-old kid outside, you need to catch one of these. Yeah. Well, as the story goes on, they couldn't find Malia. Search and search couldn't find her. Well, earlier the next day, which was a Sunday morning, A jogger was out jogging along his path. He noticed while passing the bayou that there was a body floating in the water. Now, at the time, they didn't know exactly what it was, so he called 911. They pulled the body out of the water, and it was a child's body. Now, if you know the story, if you heard the story, you know it was Malia, but for the sake you don't know, we'll say you don't know. Well, once the police got to doing more digging and researching, they did figure out after a while it was Malia's body. They contacted the parents, the mother, the boyfriend, and the father who didn't stay with them. The father stayed in another residence, located. So they called him after they located the body. The mother gets there. Sierra, she's having it. She had to be held up. She was passing out. And that's understandable. It's your child. It's your baby. Well, Trayon was there. He threw a fit too. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he became closest little girl. It was like his daughter, his child. And so they're both having it emotionally. And you would too. As a parent, how would you feel if you found that your child was deceased after you found she was missing? Well, on the arrival, when they got there, on the arrival, it was just a situation where everybody was in deep tears. The mother, the stepfather, the father, the grandparents, everybody. And it's just like they didn't know what to do. So they go to interview Sarah about Malia. And the last thing she said, Malia said to her was, "Mommy, I love you." That is so sad to know that your child's last words to you was, "I love you." Well, as the story goes on, although the community felt bad for Sarah, they kind of held her responsible. It's like, you're responsible, because they know that as a parent, you left your child outside while you went to make breakfast, a 2-year-old baby girl, and she had on a onesie. You left her outside while you went to make breakfast, and your boyfriend was laid up asleep. So this something don't sound right. So they go ahead, and what ended up happening was they got a crack in the case because they had to find out what happened to this little girl. It happened to be the community's Black Panther chapter. The new leader happened to go into the apartment complex to ask questions. What he found out was, during the day of Malia's disappearance, Trayvon and Sierra had went to the grocery store and left Malia at home by herself, 2 years old. Now, if you follow my last podcast, this is the second story, because remember I did a story about a parent who went on a hot girl summer and left their child, 16-month-old child, at home for 10 days while she went on a hot girl summer, and the girl ended up dying or was deceased from malnutrition and hunger. So these parents end up leaving and going to the grocery store and left the little girl there by herself. So while the little girl was there, the crazy thing about it was they did this on the day she came up missing. They're at the store late at night before they called 911. Yeah, before they called 911. Yes, my show is on YouTube as well, Dathan. Thank you for asking. So that raises a question. Why would you go to the grocery store and leave your daughter at home before you call 911? I mean, this whole thing don't sound right. So just add the pieces up. You go to the grocery store that day and you leave her at home while you go to the grocery store late at night before calling 911. So something doesn't sound right. Well, doing all this going on, they go ahead and they decide they were going to do an autopsy. Now, before the autopsy went down, why the autopsy is going down is it took a while for the coroner to do it. The mother that did a dedication walk to her daughter. The dedication walk went from where she was abducted at to where they found the body. So you have all the elements here. She's crying. They had to hold her up when she came to see the body. They're doing they're breaking down. They're doing the walk for the child, and it's like, so all of the elements are there of a parent who is going through grief. And you can understand that. So the thing that really hits home is after the autopsy was being done, they found out that Malia didn't drown. Malia was a victim of a homicide. A victim of a homicide. Um, this is so sad. After the autopsy was done, what was determined was she had a broken arm, superficial blunt force trauma, and she had markings on her as if she had been beaten with extension cords and curtain rods and hangers. Now, we all from the hood, some of y'all, I know, but some of y'all from the hood, we know the extensive butt wounds we got. Let's keep it 100% real. I got hit with a racetrack before. And at the time, your parents don't think they whooping you. They don't think about the ramifications of what they're doing. Well, this is what they found in the autopsy. So they go to get the parent. They go to get Sarah and they go to get Treyon. Now, remember, Treyon is the stepfather who said that he just didn't know what he was going to do without this little girl. They sit him down and the story started to change. All of a sudden, Sarah wasn't cooking breakfast. She was cooking noodles. And now all of a sudden, Treyon was asleep. Treyon was playing video games. And the reason supposedly Sarah came in the house was because Treyon called her to tell her something. It doesn't matter. Why would you leave your 2-year-old baby outside? That should have sent the alert. Come on now, be honest. Would that not send an alert to you that someone stayed there for a 2-year-old child outside? Why would you do that? In a onesie, a 2-year-old child in the playground. Although the playground was next to the apartment complex, it was not fenced in or anything. Anything could happen to your child. We just discussed on my channel about what? A week ago about the mother who got in trouble for leaving her 14-year-old daughter at home, watching the son. The son got out and went to the neighbor house across the street. So we know the perils and situations that could arise from this. Well, it gets worse, y'all. Yes, it gets worse. So, as they're being questioned, Treyon says that Sierra had got upset that evening because Malia would not go to sleep. He said that she took a brush and continued to beat Malia and then locked her in a closet all day long and overnight. He said that when they went to open the closet up, Malia had been deceased. Y'all, something still don't sound right to me. Does not sound right. Now, if you love this girl the way you said you did, why did you not try to stop her? The sick thing was he's in trouble because instead of trying to stop it, he helped to cover up the murder by trying to hide the body. They threw the body in the bayou. Y'all, I will say it again and again. We got too many people out here that are not ready to be parents. Because you physically can make a child doesn't mean you can psychologically can take care of one. That is a big issue. We have too many people that are not stable-minded having children. This was a 2-year-old baby that you left outside in a yard, supposedly. That's the wrong thing to do, number one. But the fact that that's not what happened, it gets even crazier. So after the story comes out, the police go to check the footage. Malia had never been outside the whole time. She never was in the courtyard at all whatsoever. Y'all, they beat this baby, broke her arm, gave her trauma to the head, blunt force trauma. And then they throw her into the closet. Throw her into the closet. And instead of being a man, he helps to get rid of the body. So now they take them both downtown. They're being booked. Y'all have got to see the picture. When they take Sierra's picture for to be booked, she's smiling the whole time. And she never went she never went to the baby's funeral. You guys, she never showed up. I just wanted to take my hand and just She didn't even attend the baby's funeral after the fact. So now what's going on is they looked into their history. Trayon and Sierra have always been violent to each other. They lived with Trayon's mom for a while. She kicked them out. Now because the girl was going to be homeless and had nowhere to go, they had the baby with them. Sierra decided to get into a drug rehab. She didn't smoke anything but weed, and that was very rare she did that. But she didn't want to be homeless, so she decided to enter a rehab. Now, the stepmother, well, Trayon's mother, said she wished that she would have kept the baby with her because she said she didn't see signs. Wrong. That's a lie. When someone is doing something of that type of heightened level, there are always signs there. You weren't paying attention. If your son and this girl is always arguing all the time, you didn't think it at all, not one time, that the baby might be in danger? That 2-year-old, that 2-year-old baby was a casualty of 2 young adults that didn't have rational thinking. That 2-year-old baby never had a chance. It was born to a mother who really didn't want it and didn't care. It's so many people on this story, on this case, y'all, when you go through the story, that the people in the apartment complex said that they would have knew, they wish they would have had, they wish they could have got the baby, wish they could have took the baby, wish she'd have given the baby. There are people out here that can't have children. And we got these idiots like this having children and doing things to them. We have an issue in society that we cannot seem to get people to match their psychological being with their physical being. And it is an issue. This case burns me up because not only did you hurt this baby, but you lied about it. So now the mother takes a plea deal to only get 20 years, which I think is a bunch of crap because that baby don't have no days or no life left. You should bury her underneath the jail. She's taking a 20-year plea to testify against Trayon. Now here's the thing, Trayon, who stayed in trouble as a youth, in and out of jail, is now in jail and has had two occasions arise where he's gotten into it with the guards. Not only that, he's going to play the sovereign citizen situation, and he's going to go ahead and testify and be his own lawyer. He has asked for a hybrid defense. If you don't know law, hybrid defense is when you and the lawyer work together as the defense. Because he has a bunch of questions he has lined up for all the people in the neighborhood, people in the apartment complex to ask questions. Who are you to ask anybody a question after what you did? Do you have the right to ask anybody a question after you've seen what happened? And not to be funny, I think you had something to do with the baby being injured in the first place. And then y'all both cut up by throwing the baby in the water. Are you serious? This type of stuff burns me up. It does. If you know me, you know I'm an advocate for our children, for our youth. I want to see them prosper, develop, and grow. But we have people like this that do things like this that stunts that. They're destroying the future of our society. You might have just taken out a future doctor, a future lawyer, a future activist. Someone that could have changed the lives of millions and millions of people. But because you're selfish and can't seem to get your child to calm down the way you want them to. It's a child, 2 years old. Now, I grew up where I had a rough upbringing. And when I had my kids, I kind of was a guy that put the spanking down. But after a while, you sort of learn what is behavior of normalcy and what is behavior of overdoing it. And once I became a parent that understood that kids are going to be kids, you change the way you discipline. It's always so much fun to sit down and plan a family, make a family. But then when the kid comes and there's no instruction manual to raise the child, then that becomes an issue. Stories like this burn me up. Because don't play house if you don't want to make a home. I'm just so irritated. It just gets me. Y'all, I'll be honest, I hope they put him and her both underneath the jail. Not only throw the keys away, take the keys, put them in a locked box, put that box in another locked box, put it in a rocket ship, shoot it to the moon, and when it gets ready to go to the moon, take a missile, blow the rocket ship up, and any remains of it that they find that comes back to Earth, take that and burn it and disintegrate it. That wrecks your heart to know that this baby will never see another day. Y'all, this brings up my next subject. I'm going to read y'all a little story real quick. On June 19th, a Chicago native by the name of Taylor Casey came up missing while visiting the Bahamas on a yoga retreat. Friends and family became suspicious when she never showed up for a yoga session on June 20th. Family is on the way to the Bahamas to continue the search. That story leads me into my next subject, which is the unwritten rules of traveling abroad. Now, in life, there are so many black and white and then gray areas. Like there's right, there's wrong, there's a maybe. Yes, no, could be. I think what we do is we take certain scenarios and situations we lived our life in, all of our life or existence, and we take them with us, not understanding that things change when you move around. Now, this case for Taylor, I feel bad because, of course, you know, if she was there on a retreat and they can't find her, if you're overseas and people can't find you, you're not hiding. Something's going on. There are certain rules and etiquette that you have to follow when you go abroad and leave the country. One of the main rules is don't go to areas you don't know anybody. Now, even here in America, I'm from the Midwest. If I go visit Chicago, I only hang with the people I know in Chicago. When I go see my dad in Georgia, if I got to go to Atlanta, I'm only hanging with the people I know in Atlanta. I got a cousin. Shout out to you, Ashley. I see you over there doing your thing overseas, girl. My cousin Ashley lives in California. She only goes places in California that she knows people in that area. Hey, I got family in East Boogie. Shout out to East St. Louis. When I go there, I hang out with my uncle that was there. We would only go to places that we knew people was at. When I go to San Antonio for my wrestling thing, if I go down with the coach, I'm only going to go to places that coach knows people at. That's in America. You know, if you step off into the wrong area, you're considered off-brand and things can happen. Come up missing, come up damaged, or come up robbed. So think how much more that is magnified and multiplied when you go abroad. Mexico, Bahamas, Costa Rica, Jamaica, go visit anywhere in Germany, France, Paris, China. You hear about all these cases. Nicki Minaj just got hit with a case for going over there and having weed on her. Brittany Griner got in trouble for oil. We've had other stars get in trouble for theft in stores. When you go to other countries, y'all, you have got to, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. We cannot go to other countries and act the way we do in America there because they do not respect that at all whatsoever. You got to have respect and proper etiquette when you go somewhere. In Singapore, the streets are not dirty. Singapore has a law or rule. I don't know if you heard of it. They will cane you. I don't know if y'all remember the young man back in the 90s, I think it was 80s or 90s, that got caned for his behavior. Singapore, you can't be too loud. The streets can't be dirty. They don't play that. China, you can't be disrespectful in certain buildings or certain places. You don't take your shoes off, you can be held accountable. Here are some of the major rules you've got to follow when you go abroad. Number one, if there is a law that is placed there, follow that law. Because we do it in America doesn't mean you can do it there. When you go to another country, you follow their rules and their laws. Because it is their rules and laws for a reason. You can't go over there and act any kind of way you want to. You got to make sure that when you go overseas, you go abroad, you follow the rules and regulations of the country, the township, wherever you're at. You have to follow the rules. I see so many times how when people get put in jail over there, as Americans, as American government, we fight and fight. We got to get them out. Understand something. Their rules are not our rules. They don't have to follow the same rules we follow. It's a different country. You know why you got to have a passport to go somewhere? A passport is a legal document that gets you from one area to the next that says you're clear to have clearance to step into my country. You just can't go to these countries without a passport. You can't get on the plane to go to these countries without a passport. That's why it's important and necessary to have one. Second thing, watch your attitude and demeanor when you're in these other countries. Because what we see as okay, over there might be disrespectful. You can't talk to anybody crazy. There's a case going on now with a lady who was in China and got loud and got hoodish in a Chinese restaurant, and she's in jail looking at prison time. All because she got loud and yelled at somebody like she doing there in America. You can't go over there and do that. You got to watch what you're doing and how you're saying it. You can't go anywhere and just do anything to anybody. Number 3, watch the food you take in and eat. There's a lot of stuff going on. There is a lot overseas. A lot of us get trapped up in, not me per se, I'm saying when we go overseas, there's a lot of cases. There is a lot of sex trafficking. Period. A lot of our American women are getting caught in sex trafficking because they're in the hotels that have secret corridors. I know you've seen this stuff, that they get snatched, or they're out somewhere they shouldn't be, or sometimes they are drugged through food or alcohol. If you've never had it before, you've never tasted it before, you want to have the experience, make sure you're going to a place where there are people with you, or it's a place that is well known, so that you can then take the meal and have people that are with you to enjoy the meal with you. Do not go by yourself. That's another thing, brings up another thing. When you travel abroad, try to travel in a group. Don't travel by yourself. Especially young ladies, be careful. Either young men. There's a lot of cases where young men that went over there and got in a situation where you've been prosecuted for things and have served multiple. Those prisons overseas ain't like the ones we got here. No, sirree, Bob. Have you ever seen you ever watched the documentaries about the Russian prisons or the Chinese prisons? Y'all, those prisons are totally way different than the prisons that we have here. They do not play. Another thing, and I'm going to say this, and this ain't no disrespect to nobody, but I'm going to keep it real. If you affiliated with some type of gang, when you go overseas, hey, I know you want respect, keep your flag to yourself. Because the Yakuza, the Russian Mafia, the French, hey, Jamaica, hey, these gangs out there is totally different than the gangs we got here. When we might show some sympathy, they don't show none at all. So all y'all little gang banging guys that want to act tough, and I take international flights, and my boy do. Okay, be careful. They do not play it over there. They are dead serious about that. Seriously. And the last but not least, watch your currency. You got to be careful. Because your money and their money is not the same. There's a lot of scams over there that'll take you. And there's a lot of people that'll get you for every dollar you got. You got to be careful. That's why people carry traveler's checks and credit cards. You got to be careful with those too. I thought we'd give you just a simple little rules, because after I heard the story of Taylor Casey, it just brings up the fact that we've got to be careful where we go anyway. But at least if you're over here and get into a situation, somebody can help you that maybe understand your situation. You go overseas, you are accustomed to whatever laws, rules, and regulations they got going on. And that's some things that maybe we can't help, because it's their way or no way. There's too many stories of American men and women locked up in prisons or being held captive during wars. Another thing too, the way we war and the way we support everybody through wars, y'all go to the wrong country at the wrong time, you'll become a casualty of war or you'll become a POW. And you see they have to bargain to get these people back because we have somebody they have. So they bargain to get it back. They barter to give us back to get somebody else back. But over there, they don't play. They don't mind executing you if they feel you've done something completely wrong. Y'all taking these trips, I know y'all like doing them in the summertime, and y'all like kicking it and hanging out. Be careful what you're doing and where you're going, because every country doesn't do the same things America does. Everybody doesn't play the way we play, as far as like we're a country, we're known for playing games with each other. Everybody don't play like that. Sometimes you have to let the child in you go and go somewhere and be grown up and sophisticated. But always watch your surroundings. You never know where you're going to be at what time something's going to happen. You've got to be careful. Please, if you're going to travel abroad, be prepared and have overseas and travel etiquette. Well, y'all, it was a short show today. I want to let y'all know this is the final countdown that we're on. I have 4 more shows left on this channel, and then I will proceed to only do YouTube until I get my podcast license going for Spreaker and everything. So you'll still see me here for another couple episodes. I want to just send a shout out to everybody that's in the inbox. This has been the first time the comments have been all positive. And I appreciate it, guys. From everybody on YouTube, everybody on Facebook, all the little jokesters were not in the inbox today, because when I give a story to you, I give it to you raw and uncut. And I give you my commentary. I give you the last sip commentary. The Mac Man's Motivational Muscle commentary. Because I want you to hear from a point of view that you can understand and get down with. I bring you stories that are sensitive, impactful, important. Things you might not hear because they don't go through the algorithm because everything else is going on. So I want to show love for everybody that follows me and follows me on Facebook, that has ever followed me on Facebook. At Mac Man's Fitness, at Ontario Hill, at Uncle Jerry Curl Joe. I love you guys, and I thank you. For all of y'all following me on YouTube who has just discovered my channel. At YouTube, at Motivational Muscle, muscle spelled M-U-Z-C-L-E 74. I thank you. I got comedy there. I got a couple of reels there. I got stuff like this there. Real special note, real quick. Coming up soon on Saturdays, I will be hosting a podcast that is being brought to you by Action Pack Sports, aka Main Event. I want to send a shout out to Coach Jonathan Holt, Action Jackson. I will be hosting a podcast for that. Yes, I step back into the ring, which is going to be awesome because I'm not actually going to be wrestling. I'm going to do more commentating or facilitating a little bit of management skills I'll be putting on, doing some editing. I enjoy it. I love it. The book's coming out soon. I love you guys for that. LLC is going up. I will soon have a t-shirt company going up too. So you guys can order the Mac Man's t-shirts, the Last Sip t-shirts, the Curvy Luscious he knows. Those I have those too as well. Guys, I also want to thank you guys continuously because you guys always show love. Send a special shout out to Untitled who wrote the theme song for my show. Special shout out to that. And man, hey, I can't ask for nothing more than what I got in life. And what I got in life, I got because I'm a blessed guy. And when you're blessed, you don't stress. You remove all the mess. So I want to thank you for tuning in to The Last Sip. And as always, peace and have a good one.
Competition, thanks to influences, it's my ambition. Also envision my path, so I complete the mission. Yeah, I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best. I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best. I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best. I'll never rest, regardless of all the pain and the stress. Yeah, I'll say it with my chest, I was destined to be the best.